So thanks you to everyone for joining us tonight. For those of you who haven't Zoomed in with us before, I represent the Lasting Indigenous Family Enrichment Program with Native Americans for Community Action. And we're located in Flagstaff, Arizona. This summer, NACA started a community gardening project that emphasizes the concept of Indigenous gardening. So this presentation tonight is a part of a series of Indigenous gardening presentations. Past presentations include a pinyon pine salve making tutorial, a medicinal herb presentation, and earlier this summer we had Tyrone with us and he did a lasagna bed building presentation. So if you would like a link to these past videos or updates about future videos, you can send me a private chat with your email and I'll just send you one email. I won't bother you too much, I promise. So our guest presenter tonight is Tyrone Thompson. Tyrone is a traditional foods educator, a farmer, a Food Corp service member serving the Star School, CEO of North Loop Family Farms, and recently started Chiji Farms, also in Loop. His work shows that he is committed to strengthening food security for Native people and creating opportunities for local youth and community. And we had the pleasure of having Tyrone visit us at our community garden site in Sunnyside this past weekend. And we planted garlic, leafy greens, and peaches. So for tonight, we'll show you a video. It's about 30 minutes in length of what we accomplished and how we did it this past weekend. And we'll follow that up with a Q&A with Tyrone himself. So I'll give the floor to Tyrone now.
Hello, Yate. Welcome, everybody. I see some familiar faces. Hello, Carrie. We missed you the other day. Hi, Summer. Hello, all. We've composed a short video for you all to think about while we go into the winter season and we still have, our fall colors out. We still have time to think about planting. So I hope you all enjoy the video and I hope it's full of information that you all can take home and adopt however you will. It's not perfect and we always have something to learn and somebody to learn it from. So I'm just grateful that I've had the pleasure and honor to work with NACA, Carrie, and Shauna Ree for these past months, and I'm very grateful. So thank you all, and enjoy.
Good morning, Yate Bina. My name is Tyrone Thompson, and today we are at Isabel Street Gardens in Flagstaff, Arizona with the NACA Life Program. And it's an honor to be here today, and I'm very thankful that you guys have invited us. And we'll be covering some fall planting, and the main crop will be garlic today, but we'll also show how to do other crops like maybe some peach seeds and some leafy greens, some kale, some high nutrient tender greens. So what we will be doing and covering is showing you how to prepare the seed, how to prepare the soil, and how to plant the garlic and the do's and don'ts as we share today and go along. So what we have here is a small garden bed. It's about 4 by 6 feet bed, and I have a pitchfork, and I've done a small portion of the garden, but I'm simply just gonna press down with my pitchfork, and sometimes we have broad forks that we have for these beds, and you can just see the beautiful soil. There's large earthworms and a lot of microbiology that's happening in the soil, so the garlic will really have a nice home If you don't have, you know, a garden bed that's prepped, you can go out and get some composted material like we have here in the buckets, and add that maybe 50% good compost to your native soil, and you know, mix it in. And this is a no-till method of gardening. So we're not using any kind of machinery or tiller. It's basically all hand tools. And so what that allows is to build a beautiful lush soil and allow the microbiology to live in the soil. You can see that huge worm there. But with a tiller, if we were to run a tiller through that, that would chop up a lot of that microbiology, and it also allows our topsoil to blow away. We have a lot of high winds here in northern Arizona. So as I continue to turn the bed, we can look around the garden here and show some of the examples of how we are able to garden in the high desert, because we definitely do have our challenges. We have a shorter growing season, and so you can see here we have the low tunnel hoops, which allows us to cover and extend our season for a short growing season. And right over yonder we have walls of water, which they act like mini greenhouses. And of course we build high tunnel hoop houses, and we have some for sale.
So what's that tool that you're using called?
This is a pitchfork. And again, we have tools that we make, and you can buy some online, which are broad forks. And broad forks usually are about 30 inches wide, and those are made for market garden beds. So there's a whole line of tools just for market gardens, and the average bed sizes are about 30 inches. A lot of our beds at home run about 4 feet wide, what this is here. So the dibbler that I'll show you here in a moment will cover that whole bed and make planting onions and garlic a whole lot easier.
So are you not worried about all the roots in there? Like making sure that it's just soil? It's okay to leave like the old roots from the corn in there?
Yeah, it's for the corn roots. We like to at least turn them over. But all of that root matter is good organic matter, and that's what we lack in northern Arizona and in the desert environment is organic matter. So you can see all of this is just it helps to hold our soil, and you can see the root, the soil structure is just beautiful. It's a mixture of clay and a mixture of the cinder sand, so it holds water really well and it has good drainage. So you have soil texture and soil structure, but look at this guy. Look at that worm. We don't have to buy fishing worms. We have a garden. So now that it's all tilled, Rick, possibly you can take that square, the back of the square rake, and just kind of smooth it out. So folks also ask us, do we plant by the moon and the stars? And in this case, we are approaching, as we are videoing a few days early for our Zoom meeting, but we are going to be planting on the fall equinox. So then our garlic is going to be able to establish its roots before it gets too cold. And then come spring, we'll already have established garlic, so the bulbs will be even larger, and you will have a really healthy garlic. And garlic is considered a superfood, and is one that we have adopted as a family. Yeah, and I really encourage a lot of Native America to plant garlic and to eat garlic and learn how to utilize it, because there's so many benefits to eating garlic, including helping our blood and our in some cases we have diabetes. It helps clog the arteries. So I always tell folks, for every fry bread we eat, it's clogging up our arteries, we need to eat a bulb of garlic to help cleanse those same arteries. So I know it could be a joking matter, but on a serious note, I think building our immune systems, especially in a time like this, is very beneficial to grow these superfoods that we have available for us. So you can see he smoothed out the bed really cleanly. The next step we will do is clean our seed, and I brought a special tool here that we make that allows us to plant 16 garlic or onions that are perfectly spaced about 5 inches apart, and it's called a dibbler. You don't need this, but when you're planting a lot of garlic or a lot of onions, it does come in handy. And with a lot of kiddos, it makes the process fun and fast and easy. A rule of thumb for planting garlic: when you don't have a tool like this, you can use a planting stick or any kind of little dibbler or a jig. But the rule of thumb would be a hand length apart, so about 4 to 6 inches, and a thumb depth down. So you can kind of see that's what we've composed here with our dibbler. And this is really cool because I just have to press down gently, and with the soil being watered, and it makes a really easy, evenly spaced holes. And then we'll just go along like that. So now that's ready for our garlic seed. If you want to grab some garlic, we can start some garlic, and we'll just show you how to hull the garlic and shell it. So when we're planting garlic, there's two basic varieties and types of garlic. We have a soft neck variety, which we're able to braid, and it's a little bit more milder in flavor. And then we have a stiff neck. However, this is not a stiff neck. You can kind of see the neck is a little bent. But the stiff neck varieties, you wouldn't be able to bend them like this. They're a really hard neck, and you would just cut them at an angle to keep them and store them really well. So those are the two basic types of garlic that we're able to grow. And what we look for in a garlic seed is an organic variety. If we're not buying a seed from a seed company or a local gardener or farmer that you know of that is growing an organic variety, you can go to your local organic store for farmers market, but try to find the organic variety. And what we're looking for are larger bulbs. So you can see the bulbs out here. These are actually our seed. So Sean Marie, I don't know if you want to count. We can take some of these guys apart, and we're going to use the bigger bulbs. So you have the outer bulbs, which are really large, and then you have these inner bulbs that are a lot smaller. So for planting purposes, I like to use the large bulbs so we get a large garlic clove. If you can still plant these and get a garlic clove, but they're not going to be as large. So for this purpose, we'll set these ones aside, and you can take them home to eat. There's several ways you can prepare them. A few things while the garlic is growing. If you grow the stiff-neck variety, as your garlic emerges out of the ground and we're into spring, the stiff-neck variety is going to start forming what they call a skype. That skype is going to look like an onion forming or another little garlic forming on top of the leaf. And so what we want to do at that time, if we grow a stiff-neck variety, is chop that skype out. And that'll allow the energy to go down to the garlic bulb and fill in the bulb rather than giving the energy up to the skype. Now the skype is edible. It's really flavorful. It'll give you a taste of your first garlic for the year. You're able to saute it. You're able to put them in salads and in soups and whatever you like there. So that is something to look forward to. That's something we can follow up with if that's something that brings interest to folks, as well as how to utilize the garlic, how to prepare it, how to make it into into salads, into salad dressings, and stir fries. Another I would say a cousin or another partner to the garlic would be onions, and for Asian cuisine, we use ginger, garlic, and onions. It's a really favorite, and it's making me hungry as I talk about it. So let me show you how easy it is to crack open your garlic and to prepare it. So this is not a garlic clove that we're using for seed, but this is something that we would be able to utilize at home and throw it into any kind of dish, or potatoes, or eggs, or lettuce, or whatever we want to do. So I crack the shell open and it comes off really easy like that, and then it's really just easy to mince up. And it has a very aromatic fragrance to it, so it's just something that we love to cook with. And it's a simple mince, but it has so much. I just love garlic. It also keeps the vampires away. So with that, we can prepare some more seed. I brought some paper bags here. So the bigger seed, we can put them in the bag. The smaller seed can go in another bag, and you take those home, and we can get planting.
Okay.
So this is here's the garlic clove, and this is the way it gets planted, just like this. So the root side down, the pointy side up. So the bottom side is going to establish roots, and the shoot's going to come up from the top sharp part. Make sense? Awesome. Now we're planting garlic, and it's getting toward fall. It's going to start freezing soon. But garlic's not the only thing that we're going to be planting. We have some varieties of kale, mixed lettuce greens, cabbage, and oftentimes I do have Asian greens, but they don't have strong roots yet, so hopefully we'll bring some out in a few weeks or so. But those are some of the varieties that we're able to grow going into fall. And if we have high tunnel hoop houses, low tunnel hoop houses, coal frames, then it allows us to extend our season even further, because in our area, in Flagstaff region, we do have a shorter growing season, so it's challenging to grow some of the crops that people like to enjoy. So this is the dibbler again. It's a planting tool for planting a lot of garlic or onions at a time, and it's perfectly spaced about 5 inches apart. But again, you don't need it. You can use a planting stick or any kind of little stick or jig, and the rule of thumb is a hand length apart and a thumb depth down. Otherwise, as deep as the garlic cloves are, you can just make sure that the top of the garlic is buried, and it's not tremendously deep. So with that, we can go ahead and start planting our garlic. This tool doesn't take long to plant hundreds of garlic at a time. And when you have beds that are 50 feet or 100 feet long, it really helps speed up the process. The other thing that we'll be starting to plant here as fall approaches, but again, we are in greenhouses, are fall onions that will be ready to be put out in spring. Another fun garden activity to do right now with the kids are you buy a number of peaches or apricots or plums and save those seeds and put them in pots and water them over winter. Let them go through a process of cold stratification over winter, and they'll come out in the summertime. And that's a really fun project with kids. Another thing that you can try is strawberries. Buy some ripe strawberries, again, from your organic or farmer's market, and take off the seeds off the strawberry, because the little black little eyes are seeds. And you can even shave the strawberry skin and plant those skins into little pots. They take a lot longer to germinate. They probably take about 2 to 3 weeks. But it's fun for the kids because that's something that they'll actually eat. Some of these greens they'll want to throw away. But it's we've noticed with our youth and our kids, if we involve them, if they participate in planting the seed, nurturing that plant as it grows, and they're more likely to eat it and taste it and appreciate it because they have a relationship to it. So this is a bed of 96 garlic here in a very short time. And garlic is also could be an economic opportunity for somebody. I think you know, if you plant about an acre of garlic, the turnaround is about $5,000 per acre. So there's opportunity there as well. And in a place like Flagstaff, you know, there's the community, which you know, they're a health net community. So hummus is a really popular product that they have out here. That's another opportunity. I think, you know, you can grow some garbanzo beans along with some garlic and you have a market there. So there's definitely also, you know, the market side and the economic side of garlic, as well as all of the health benefits. You know, there's so many health benefits to growing garlic. There's even talked about it preventing cancer, it helping with diabetes, and you know, all of these illnesses. And in a time where we need to have strong immune systems, this is one of the superfoods that allows us to do that. So I really encourage you to grow garlic and plant a bed of garlic, because it is again one of the superfoods that we have available for us. So here we are going to prep an area to plant some of our leafy greens. Again, the primary focus today was planting garlic, but there's still opportunity to plant some leafy greens, which again can go through some cold. So we have some kale, we have cabbage, we have a variety of different lettuces. I also have Asian greens, but I didn't bring any today. But Asian greens are another really good crop to grow through the winter time and fall time. And if you're able to, you know, cover it with a low tunnel like this, or a high tunnel, we teach extending the season. So with a high tunnel hoop house, we're able to put low tunnels inside, and also walls of water, which allow us to have 3 to 4 layers of insulation. And with those techniques and the different varieties of plants, we're able to grow year round and anywhere from 20 below on it. So with the leafy greens, kale again is another superfood. So they're highly nutrient dense foods that we're planting that really are not readily available, especially when it comes to you know, reservation settings or you know, the res life that we live. So I think I'll be known as the res gardener from here on out. But yeah, this this is really good, high nutrient dense foods that we're planting for people, and showing them. And our our mission, our passion is to empower people to grow and give them the capability, the capacity, the tools that they need to be able to grow our own food on our reservation. So yeah, and we started these seedlings about a month ago in our greenhouse, or actually our shade house, because they're a cool variety of crop, and it's really hot in our greenhouses right now. So we started them under shade, and so they're able to adapt into that environment. And what he's adding here is compost, which will allow the plant to access food readily and right away. So backing up a little, when we look at planting, both on the beginning of the year and at the end of the year, we pay attention to our last and first frost dates. And so based on that, we calculate backwards on the number of months or weeks that we want to get these plant babies established. So that's what I did with these ones. So they are ahead of the frost date about 45 days. And so that's what I kind of look for, is between 40 to 60 days ahead of our last frost to get our fall plant seedlings started. And so I started them, a few weeks back, and their roots are established. So once we plant them, they're gonna have this happy place where we still have a little bit of sunlight and nice warm temperatures, and that'll allow them to establish themselves before it gets too cold. Now what you want to do is buy some peaches and eat the peach or apricot or plum, and save the seed, let it dry out for a day or so. And all we did here was gather some composted material, put it in a bucket that has holes on the bottom, so we're sure that it has good drainage. And sometimes folks will get pliers or vice grip, and they'll tap on the hull of the seed, because on the outside of this hull, or the inside of this hull, there's actually another smaller seed that's in there. But nature doesn't do that. Nature doesn't get a hammer and break the seed open. It goes through, again, the cold stratification period of going through winter, and then they'll germinate through the spring. So we're going to try that method of just planting the seed, because I found when I pop the seed, or if I try to crack the seed, a lot of times I'll injure the baby seed on the inside. I'll crack it in half, or I'll chip it off, and it doesn't allow it to properly germinate. So this is another experiment that you're able to do at home with the kids in the garden right now, as we go into fall time, and as all the fall harvests are coming with peaches and plums and apricots and what have you. So we're just gonna get the peach seed and firmly press it into the ground, and make sure that it's covered. And I'm doing several peach seeds in this small area. Once the peach trees germinate and they are growing, a foot or two tall, then we can transplant them into bigger pots and into their own pots. Again, another opportunity for economics, for good, fresh, good food, fresh peaches. The kids are always interested in sweets, so peaches are another good one. Good to save over winter by canning and preserving, making peach cobbler through the winter time. So anywho, that concludes our session for today. I believe if there's any other questions, feel free to ask, and we'll cover more questions over our Zoom meeting as well.
All right, thank you everyone for watching that with us. Thank you, Tyrone. We got one question during the video. We were asked if when planting garlic in the fall, do you recommend having a low tunnel over the garlic plants?
Low tunnel or high tunnel would be wasted space for garlic. I would save that space for another valuable crop. All you need to do is mulch the garlic. It will thrive outside with the winter conditions and all.
Awesome, thank you. So there's another question in the chat. Do the peach seeds just stay in the bucket all through winter? Does it need to be transplanted when they sprout?
I'm still learning about them, but I will allow them to sprout and at least form their first true leaves, so their second set of leaves, if not even a little bigger. I've learned with the apricots this past year that we're going to let them go to sleep before we start transplanting them this year, because we did it in spring and about 50-50 we were able to we succeeded in and keep them alive.
Someone asked what your source of water is over in Loop.
So we pump water from the sea aquifer, and we have some ongoing projects now that will allow us to drill more wells for folks in our area, and we will be pumping out of the another aquifer that's a little more shallow and a little cleaner water.
We have a question about onions. Do you plant onions in the fall or wait until spring?
It depends. It depends where you're at. So we have greenhouses, so that allows us to plant inside. And so I'm going to be planting thousands of onions going into the fall, preparing for spring. But it allows me to do onion cuttings off the top of my green onion. So I'll have an abundance of onion cuttings throughout the winter to add to my salads, my soups. And it's just basically giving them haircuts, because they'll keep growing and growing toward the sun. But as spring comes, I'll have thousands of onions available.
I'm going to save one of these questions till the end. There were a couple things that I cut out of the video that I was wondering if you could talk more about. They were just cut out of the video because of sound quality. But could you talk more about the solstices and the timing with that?
So yeah, so again, we planted on September 19th. Our video today is the 22nd. So and honoring our fall equinox is September 21st. That's the day we try to plant and somewhat of a window, I would say, of this week in a time frame. So it doesn't have to be exactly on the 21st, but we try to get in our garlic by then to get their roots established. And you can see how our weather has been changing. So we also talked about for Navajo planting, we plant by Delieje is the Pleiades, and even those times, the time frames, it seems like they are changing. So we're having to adapt with different techniques and ways of growing. And one of the ways of adapting is using greenhouses and high tunnels. And so when we will harvest the garlic, we're also going to be harvesting that on June 21st as well. So that is the other significant date.
Someone just wants to clarify, do the peaches stay outside? Are you sure they stay outside?
Yes, they have to stay outside. They have to go through the freezing. They have to go through at least, the 30s, but they have to stay outside. You don't want to take them inside. Another way that I've tried, you can trick the seed is by putting them into the freezer. Again, it's a cold stratification process. It's something that's done with a number of different seeds, including Navajo or Hopi or Patty tea. Native tea is another one that has to go through that process. And there's a number of seeds that go through that cold stratification process. It's just a way of nature taking its course and so yes, it does stay outside. So again, with that, we could heavy mulch it, because that's what nature would do, is drop the seed and then drop the leaves on top of the seed, so it would naturally be mulch and it would emerge as spring arises. So when you get into some of the larger orchards, you'll have farmers oftentimes wanting you to come out and take these baby seedlings out of the ground, because all of their peaches, that they didn't harvest, drop to the ground and start growing baby seedlings. So we tried to mimic nature as much as possible, even when it comes to rebuilding our soils and building soils.
So,
I think
sorry?
one of the other things that we didn't cover was during the harvest time, and maybe that was bad audio as well, but while we're harvesting the garlic, we talked about the number of leaves that are on the plant itself. So 4 to 5 leaves left, green leaves, because they'll start turning brown, the garlic will start bending over, but it doesn't mean the garlic is quite ready. So we'll want to count the leaves back, and then as we test the garlic, we'll dig it out and look at the garlic clove, and if it looks a little pregnant, then the garlic is ready. If it's too flat, let me get a sample garlic here to show you. If it looks too flat, then it's not ready. But you can see how it just kind of bulges out there, and that's kind of the pregnant view. But that's what we're looking for when it's ready. And again, your leaves will come back, and that's a whole nother workshop of how to harvest the garlic, how to size it up, how to braid it. It's a whole process and technique. And I do give a lot of credit to my mentor, Kim Costian, who has taught me a lot about garlic, because she's just full of knowledge when it comes to this special crop. And this is her garlic. She's been growing for 30 years.
So back to the apricots, we're having questions about watering. Do you add supplemental water, or just let them be outside, collect moisture from the snow?
We haven't been getting any moisture, so I would definitely water and keep things damp. We are constantly watering things. We always mulch everything. We try not to have any kind of bare ground. So if you're able to, add extra leaves on top of what you've already planted, it'll help you retain some of that moisture like a sponge. So you could use leaves, you could use straw, you could use any kind of mulch like that.
So in the video, you talked about strawberries, peaches, different kind of greens. Are there any other outdoor fall crops that you plant?
I'm sure there are. There's always something. Before it gets, now we're really kind of pushing it as the freeze kind of approaches. I think we're looking around October 5th for another freeze, and Flagstaff already froze, mind you. So we're lucky a lot of our crops have made it through, but a cool cover crop is a huge thing for us out here to help build our soil naturally, and not having to haul in so much straw or organic matter. We're able to grow our organic matter and allow the sun to do its superpowers and help us build these beautiful soils so we can grow more and in a regenerative way.
So thinking about regenerating the soil, when you plant garlic, is there something you should plant after garlic in those same beds? Or is anything okay to put in those beds afterwards?
So garlic does like to feed. So one of the things we didn't talk about was fertilizing. So we could use natural, manures and maybe coffee grounds and spread it out around the garlic as well as so it'll allow it to feed on some of the nutrients that will be put out. So with garlic, I always like to follow it with a cover crop. And a lot of my cover crops, I like to be edible. So I like to grow a lot of peas and beans, are natural to grow behind the garlic. So those are ones that I would recommend for growing in your garden.
Does garlic grow, can you grow it in containers?
Absolutely. Garlic doesn't take a whole lot of space. You see our spacing with our dibbler was 4 to 6 inches. And so that just allows the garlic to in case it grows to be an elephant garlic, it allows it to grow into a nice 3-inch bulb without it competing for space. So as long as your container, you're allowing that space between 4 to 6 inches between your cloves, then you'll have no problem. And the depth of the garlic, is not too deep as well. So you should be able to grow it as shallow as having like a coffee can or something. But at a large tote, people use 55-gallon drums. Those all should be fine to grow garlic in. And we grow a lot of other vegetables in containers because a lot of folks don't have access to land or have access to farms or have capabilities of walking and going long distances. So container gardens are a way to go for people that don't have access to farmland, or they live in the city and they have maybe a patio, or rooftop gardens are becoming real popular in the urban environment.
Well, I'm going to invite anyone to unmute themselves and ask any questions for yourself. Kai?
And so, hi, I see Summer, and Ritz, and Carrie. It's a funny way to meet these days, huh?
I've actually got I've got 2 questions. Is it okay?
Absolutely. Hey, buddy, how's it going?
Going good, going good. When would you say Rajat starts? The Navajo New Year's. When would you say it would start?
A long wow, you caught me. You caught me off guard with that one. I don't know. I would have to go back and ask my elders as well. I think it's around around December. But I would have to ask an elder as well. That's a good question. Next question. You trumped me with that one.
And I know you use greasewood as a planting stick. What part of greasewood do you use?
When I go out to the greasewood, it's challenging to find a nice straight portion of a nice stick, and then I really look for a strong stalk or a strong portion. So I look for something that's 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches thick, wide in diameter, and at least 2 feet long. And that's just what I've done in the past for my planting sticks. However, I've seen other tribes, they've used other planting sticks to where you can actually make like a little pedal to step on it. And I think they might use cedar for that. And that's the same thing for adestine. When you're looking for the adestine, you want to look for the really long, straight. And those are it's challenging when you get. It looks easy that you can find really straight sticks, but when you get out there, you'll find it's gonna be, you'll have fun looking and hunting for some nice sticks. But it's always an adventure, and we always give it an offering and pray to it before we gather. So I give it some corn pollen or some tobacco.
Any other questions?
Awesome. Thank you.
I'm really glad, Tyrone, that you mentioned the medicinal qualities to garlic. And that's really important that our people begin to understand that these relatives, the plants, they bring us so much more than just that capability of nurturing us through food. There's many relatives out there that are helping us, and I'm glad that you mentioned what garlic can help us with, and to be really thankful. I'm really thankful that you amplify that gratitude to the plants, and also the ideas that you present to the people of possibilities. And that's where the wave across the country is going, is food sustainability. And I love that we've been able to learn from you and Fritz and all the other webinars that, and you talk about it in your presentation about the high quality of nutrients within the soil. Fritz was talking about the nutrient value in some of the plots up at Colton earlier today. And so learning that, that new knowledge, keep getting that new knowledge about the quality of soil has been enriching and helpful. And I'm glad you continue to mention all these little things that really matter. Putting it back in, the worms and, things like that. So for our programming, I'm always thinking, education, how can we teach the community? How can we share this with the community? So really thankful that you put those into your presentations in a good way. And thank you for the t-shirt. It was awesome. I've been wanting one. Yeah.
Thank you as well, Carrie. It's always an honor to work with you, and you just remind me, of how much as a society we continuously take, and we forget to give back and give thanks. And so as a Native community, that's what we're known for, and it's part of our nature is to have that mutual respect and to give back and not to take too much. So thanks for reminding us of being humble and being who we are. Thank you.
Oh.